What makes a song a smash? Talent, luck, timing, all that and more. On Hit Parade from Slate, host Chris Molanphy tells tales from a half-century of chart history. Through storytelling, trivia, and song snippets, Chris dissects how the artists you love, or hate, dominated the airwaves and shaped your memories forever. He's explained how Taylor Swift pivoted from country to pop, how The Cure got UK goth rock onto US radio, and how a young Stevie Wonder improvised his way to a Billboard chart topper. Subscribe to Hit Parade for tales of the hits from coast to coast, wherever you are listening right now. When you're growing up and you're a little different from everyone else, maybe you look different, or you speak with an accent, or you like different music, the otherness can weigh heavy, and it's on you to process that. Some folks feel at home in themselves when they finally find their people, whatever that means for them. Some reach for belonging by adopting whatever appears to be, quote unquote normal. And some folks alchemize otherness by wearing their uniqueness like a crown. Nnamdi Ogbonaya most definitely falls into that last category. He's a son of Nigerian immigrants who grew up outside Chicago, and for years he would describe his music to people as, well, weird. What kind of music do you make? Oh, weird music. It was a knee-jerk response. Nnamdi made his records alone, late at night, playing every instrument himself. He was into Frank Zappa, math rock, Outkast, and somehow he brought all those things together into a sound that was hard to describe except as, well, weird. But at some point, Nnamdi realized the music he makes isn't weird, at least not to him. That word had become almost like a proactive defense against all the people who couldn't categorize his music or couldn't understand it. So with his latest record, Please Have a Seat, Nnamdi decided to drop the word weird. It's just music now.
Yeah, and also I don't think it's weird because it's just what I would do. You know what I mean? It's literally just who I am. If other people want to say it's weird, that's on them.
My name is Meklit, and this is Movement, Music and Migration Remixed. Today, we are making weird normal with Nnamdi. What was the first instrument you picked up?
First instrument I played was piano. Yeah, my parents bought me a little Casio keyboard. Yeah, I love the drum beats. My favorite was the fill button, where you could just press the fill and do it. I would just press the fill button over and over and over. Yeah, I was just a strange child.
And did you get a drum kit?
Yes, I mowed lawns one summer to raise money so I could buy a $200 drum set.
I feel like drums are much harder in a household than piano. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you ever get complaints about the drums?
Actually, not from neighbors at all. Because my neighbors on the left were not rednecky, but very much lower class Caucasian folks who were super into wrestling. So we would always hear them screaming at the TV. So that was on the left side. And the right side, I had my neighbor, Mr. Slauson. He was very old and he couldn't hear that well. So I kind of had it made in that world. But people in the house, that's a different story. My dad would get home from work and hear me playing in the basement and he would just go, ah! So, which I think meant stop. So I would stop.
Was there ever a moment where you had to kind of defend music?
I think that people didn't know how important it was to me growing up. So it was kind of my own little special escape. Yeah, I remember a time where I played I had like a battle of the bands. I was like a freshman or something. And the prize was you got to go open for this band, the Plain White Tees. Uh, so this was the first time my dad ever saw me play drums in like a public setting that wasn't like at the house or at church. And I remember after that show, he was like, "Wow, you can really play the drums." Like he didn't know how good I was at drums. It was a good band. It was more like the other stuff I was playing was not something parents would like. So I think that's
what does
another
that
reason.
mean?
I don't know. It was more just like, it was more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying like all parents, but just my parents. Yeah, it was more aggressive, like experimental and like mathy, and you couldn't really like bob your head to it. So my dad wasn't like as into that. He was like, "Why don't you play stuff that sounds like Jerry Garcia?"
Really, I mean,
yeah.
That's not a sentence I expect to come out of a Nigerian immigrant.
That wasn't a sentence I expected him to say, but he definitely said it at some point. I think my natural inclination used to be to try to want to isolate people and kind of make people uncomfortable in a way that makes them like reevaluate the things that they consume, whether that's lyrically or whether that's like instrumentally jarring. I feel like growing up, that was like, I'm just like, I just want to like make people feel that. And I think like getting older, I'm just like, music should be a thing that brings people together. So kind of combining those two things into something that is cohesive for me is very important. Like, I feel like you can have pop music that is more intricate than kind of the stuff we have been seeing on the radio. And it would be cool to like see stuff with like a little more experimentation leak into that world. I think in any given song, especially on Please Have a Seat, I was very deliberate about having every song have something that was hummable to me.
Grip the armrest, knuckles turn white as a ghost. Both palms pressed, buckled in, hugging me close. Blood rushed in, pulse stuck right in my throat. Touchdown, 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 don't wake me up.
But just because I do that on this record does not mean that the next record will be catchy or even listenable. Like, it could just be a bunch of like grating, dissonant chainsaws like being thrown into a blender. So
tell us a little bit about the new record, Please Have a Seat. How did the seeds for that get planted?
Well, Please Have a Seat started during like 2020. When I write music, I just write song after song after song. I have my like little keyboard here with me. I usually just try to make 3 ideas a day.
Wow,
that I like.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I guess. I guess it's usually just very small, like short loops. It's not like a full song. It's like I'll make 3 things where I'm like, okay, that could potentially be a song at some point. And then I go back and listen once I have a batch, and I start to notice different similarities in certain songs. So I'll just like group things that make sense.
What's your recording process like?
Oh God, it's scary. I record very late at night usually. It's very much just like a gremlin in his little cave, just like, gotta record this song. I don't know. I get my boost of energy in like the witching hours, like 3 to 6. And yeah, I think I like knowing that most people around me are sleeping. It feels like a more calm environment, but it's very much a me experimenting in my evil laboratory by myself. So yeah, 2020, like middle of the year, I was noticing that I had a lot of songs that felt like a diary, just documenting times in my life where I had small epiphanies. And that's kind of what turned into Please Have a Seat. What
was one of those epiphany moments?
So I've I was lucky enough to get to hang out with some people that have been doing it for a while or just have like a big following, and people that are like relatively famous, and also like how people interact with them when they go out in public. So I kind of learned what I want from like a career where the whole thing is like being public, like an entertainer. And I love that aspect about it, but I also love being able to go places by myself and
Right.
have people not talk to me.
Was that the song I Don't Want to Be Famous?
Yeah, there's that. That's like a big part.
I don't really wanna be famous. I just want a million blue faces. I just want a million new fans and plays. Then I wanna ride that massive wave, blowing all the money on diamonds, mansions, paddocks, and private planes, showing off, flying the islands, buying them, run the red carpet and rise to fame. I don't really wanna be popular. Walk around the city, they stop and look. I don't really like to be
just like hanging out with someone actually famous, and like we were at the middle of nowhere on a tour that this person like decided to hop in the van because they were friends with the band we're touring with. And then we ended up at a grocery store at like 3 a.m. And I got so used to just hanging out with this person that I forgot that they were like famous. And then we went into this grocery store. Everything was normal. And then I started noticing like the workers just being like, and I was like, oh yeah, you're like really famous. And it was crazy. Like out of nowhere, just a bunch of people swarmed him and were like asking him all these questions. And he was like, I'm just trying to get some food with my friends.
At 3 a.m.
At 3 a.m. I think like people texted people that were like in the town and just like, yo, he's here. And so people like came, which is insane. And I was just like, don't like that. But I do like want the other aspects, you know, like in one line I'll be saying I don't want a thing, and then the next line I'll be saying like, but actually kind of do. And that's just how I feel. It's not as easy as like a yes. Like I realize I don't get to decide those things really. Like there's only so much I can do to decide the outcome, because I know that I'm going to keep pursuing music at the highest degree possible. So whatever the universe throws my way, like it's not like I just have to figure out ways to deal with it in ways that make me comfortable. But I love pop music. I love making catchy songs, and I wanted that one to be really catchy to get that point across, that kind of duality of it. I do like having my music reach as many people as it could possibly reach.
Yeah.
Because I personally know the power of music and like the things that it can pull out of people. And I feel like my music can do the same for other people.
My experience is that when a song comes from that place of insight, it reaches something else in people. Like it goes an extra step somehow.
I like that.
Because it reaches something. Like when it touches something in you from that place, it has like extra little wings to travel a little further.
Yeah.
Somehow.
It's kind of almost like seeing into the future or like foreshadowing your own life. Like you'll write songs based on how you feel, but then realize that there's levels deeper to it that you don't understand until like the song's been a song for a while. And then you're like, oh my goodness, like there's more to this, which is that's an exciting thing about art. Like you can listen to the same thing, you can look at the same picture and always find new things and like new inspiration from the same thing.
The album is Please Have a Seat by Nnamdi, and we'll go out on the track Touchdown.
Felt the floor drop fast, I was floating along. Try ignore, can't perform like nothing is wrong. Begging for more time, need a minute to calm. Calm down, calm down, calm down. I feel the sweat, fears spread, cold, dark as the dawn. Regret what's left, make a mark when I'm gone. Walk the plank, watch you take, been the plan all along. Touchdown, touchdown.
Movement is produced by Ian Koss and myself, Meklit Hadero. Our co-creator and podcast godmother is Julie Kane. Our broadcast partner is The World. We are supported by the National Geographic Society and distributed by PRX.